This is Professor Homa. Welcome to CSE 235. This will be called EX8 CodePen, and we're calling it CodePen because we're going to work in a new environment called CodePen. You might have heard of it, or you might have seen people in videos using this software. It's a website, but it's also kind of a playground sandbox type of environment. And a lot of people use it, so we're going to try it out, and I think you might like it. You don't have to sign up, but I recommend you sign up because then you'll be able to save the code that you do. And all that you have to do is just go to codepen.io. You might have seen that when we download brackets, but we're going to go to codepen.io. And I'm going to sign up. So I'm just going to go to sign up. I already have an account with my Warren email, but I'm going to sign up with my basic email, my home email, just so I go through the process. And so I see some of the default looks that you see. And I'm just going to, it says individual and team plans. If you see all these pricing things here, just ignore them. Just go to join CodePen for free and sign up. So I'm going to sign up right now, and it asks for your name. So I'll just put my name in, and I'm going to use a different name. I put Richard, I think, for my other one. So, and I'm just going to put a username and my email, and then I'll choose a password. Again, it doesn't have to be anything super secure, and I have to click on the I'm not a robot, and I'll hit submit. And here it is, and you could give yourself an avatar. On my Warren account, I have a picture here that I put on myself, so you can create an avatar and put it there if you want. Everything is optional, so I'm not going to put anything here right now. So I'll just hit save and continue. I'm not going to put anything in there right now. And it has a let's go start here, so they have a little tour, so you could go through the tour if you want. I'll just click off the tour. I'll leave tour. They have a little button here to leave the tour, and you can kind of see what it is. It's HTML, CSS, and JS, which is JavaScript, which are the three components of front-end web development. And we'll be able to work with these three areas kind of separately in their own windows, which will be easier than it was working in JSDo. And remember, in JSDo, we created a whole web page, which is fine, but we kind of did internal styles, we did HTML, and then we did JavaScript inside of JavaScript tags. This will allow us to actually do everything kind of in separate little windows to isolate each area as we go. So I think you'll like doing it. One of the things I had when I first did it, it wasn't showing a black background. So I just want to show you, when you go in your profile here, they do have an area called settings. And I'll go into my settings right now. It's saying leave because I'm getting out of that little kind of editor view. And they have different settings in here. I actually like tomorrow night is the dark background. Usually I work with kind of a light background, but in here I'm going to try the dark background, and I like the one called tomorrow night. You could use a light background, a dark background, whatever you want. And I'm also going to put my settings up a little higher because my eyesight isn't as good as it used to be. So I'm going to put it at 16 pixels. I think it might be somewhere around 12 or 14 by default. And Monaco is good, or whatever. You could try out the different fonts here. It'll show you kind of what they look like over here. But Monaco is usually fine, especially if you're working on a Mac. And I'll just save all my settings. And that's all I really need to save right now. They have things here called pens. Pens is basically your scripts that you write, and they also have collections that you could put them together in. And actually, where you're going to want to go for your collections, because these are collections that you can collect from other people, you're actually going to want to go to your settings. Now this is you here, and if you go to your profile, that's going to show you your personal things that you're working. Here's me, and here's collections. Created any collections yet, and they have a thing here that says add new collection, and I'm just going to create one called CSE 235. I'll just create one called that, and I didn't put any description in it. Now any pens that I create, I'm going to save into this collection, so that if you had different, it's like a folder, so if you had different areas that you wanted to save in there, but all my stuff for CSE 235 I'm going to save in here. So, and then I'm going to make a new pen, and they have different areas where you could create a pen. You could go here and create a new pen. And there's nothing in here right now. One thing I just want to point out is you could change the layouts. If you go to change view, you could put the preview on the bottom and have your three columns set up like that. There's also a preview kind of view that'll show the whole thing, but you could set it up any way you want. These things you can move around and have them at different sizes. You can maximize one editor. I'll go in here, I'll say maximize, and it'll kind of make it all JavaScript. So when you're working in your JavaScript, you can just focus on that. And when you could double click on some of the other ones to kind of isolate those. And I'll put it back so I have kind of all three right now. And what I'll do, I don't have anything set up yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to JSDo. Here's JSDo, and I'm going to use the one that's EX6. This is the tip calc 3. That was our last tip calculator, and if you can't find it for whatever reason, you could always use the one where we did the discount, but I'm going to use tip calc 3 from EX6, and I'm just going to copy this code and put it into our code pen, into this new pen. Now, I didn't save it as anything yet, and I could go right up here where it says untitled, and if I click on this little pencil, I guess it's a pen, although it looks like a pencil, I'll just call it EX8, and I'll give it a dash, and I'll just call it CodePen, because that's what we're doing, and then I could just save. And I have no code in here yet, so there's nothing really to see, and I'm going to go back to JSDo and open up my EX6 tip calc 3, and I'm going to take some code out of there. So what I'm going to want is my HTML, my CSS, and my JavaScript. So first I'm going to start with I guess I'll start with my CSS. That's the first thing here. Even though my HTML starts up here, I'm going to get my CSS. Now I'm going to start with body because I don't need my style tags. My style tags are just to identify CSS within an HTML page. So I just want my style tags. So that's what I could do. I could just get my CSS declarations right up to my last curly brace, and I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to go back to CodePen, and I'll paste it into my CSS. You could fix your indents. It looks like it messed up some of my indents here. I'll make sure that looks nice. I can make this a little wider if I want to see it a little better. So that's my CSS, and then I'll go back to JSDo, and I'll get my HTML. Now HTML, you could start with your H1, but we did give body some properties in here, so I might as well keep my body tag, but keep in mind that your closing body tag is below the JavaScript, so just copy your body through whatever your last part of your HTML is before your script starts. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to put that in my code pen for my HTML, and it'll work without doing this, but I'm also going to just put my closing body tag in. So I'll put my closing body tag in the bottom just so I have open and closing tags. So now I have my HTML, and I can see it showing up here. So there's my HTML. It looks the way it was looking when we originally did it. And the last thing I'm going to copy and paste in here is going to be my JavaScript. So I'll go find my JavaScript, and you don't need the script tags because that's just telling your HTML page to identify this as JavaScript, and you don't need that. So I'm just going to copy everything from my comments down to the last of my JavaScript, my last curly brace. Don't need that, don't need any comments, anything like that. So I'll just copy my JavaScript and I'll paste that into the JS area. So there's my JavaScript in there. So now I have these set up. I'll just hit save right now, and I might just want to see if it works. And if you want to see the whole thing in a main view, they do have a view where that's called full page, and they have some views that are on Pro version that you have to pay for, but they have a full page version. So if I just want to make sure that, and they need to verify your email address to use full page view. Okay, I verified my email. Now I can see my full view here. And again, I'll just try this out just to make sure it works, and it should work. Okay, and it works. Let me just put it up to 20, and it works. And I think this was the one where we had this alert window come up if we didn't put anything in. So everything's working here. So I'll go back to view, and it's called editor view when you want to see all your windows. And remember, it does have a full view at the bottom. So however you want to set that up. So what we're going to do next is we're just going to make a couple little changes here, just to explore a couple little things in JavaScript. Let me take a break here, and then we're going to do a little bit of JavaScript in here, and then that'll be it for EX8.